ECG story, no. The reason why at the NPP they don't want us to talk about ECG, containers, ECG equipment. On say, and say videos to be around. Man for who say ECG cables. They are called dumping or Nsawam Adoagreyri. Another dumpre. I make a big channel. Another dumpre. Sign your man a muhuno the constituency in your Libya. See, ECG equipment, cables, poles. Now before me dem be ECG story no. Me person me bia mo adwim na mo be first. Now muntie Kennedy Japan time akọ PZ ko kasa muntie ne pa. Oka ECG nsem bi. Ye wi abebuta question na afi ma kire mo ECG no. Omo bɔ mo kro no. The reason why NPP for person make ECG no asem. The reason why Afenyo Markin has stayed away from the ECG matter. Anytime Afenyo Markin gina parliament can say ye nyina nya ba ko ne solve ECG problem. No. Omo wi am no. Omo wi Ghana no NPP for. Na mo me enko back kakra. Na ye ntie Kennedy Japan okọ PZ no. Oka bibi fa ECG in some polls ho. Me wi am bia wani wa ade bi ho.
Suppose na mo pack any cables wires am de begusu a very simple. Ye ni abemu enso metimi am Ministry of Energy as supply mo sa cables in speed line. Me kwa kohwe me warehouse. No ma hwe suppose no me obi gu a. As for street light in here, my friend, me setting some street light. It may call no matter warehouse. So even I go. So me here. Next Ministry of Energy. A better. Me anka some top post no. Edi abram. Enti say sikana me buy no. Send your match the magnitude. And one branch here means so. Gaji, you discovered by Yajuma. Meno, a shop bottom says, yeah, temptation of a bam.
Now, Kennedy call PZ, no? Or can send be? Or say, suppose any cables number power. Any the easy, and yet didn't cry, easy job. In fact, now buy me power. Then so, obey to me, alpha ways to be my Minister of Energy, no? Any poles, any cables to be a bromo. Nempo, the Minister the crackers, oh, yeah. On one gasa our warehouse our poles any cables gum. In fact, I say we check it. Or you're very sure say street light the obe breguo. Kennedy Japan. Remember, ne lawyer ne Afenyo Markin. Afenyo Markin. On a board chair of ECG. Now, Kennedy Japan, in the past, your man a contract to supply electricity lights. Street lights. Ever since there, we are yet to see the full complement of normal supply. Ever seen there? Kennedy Japan Jessica or any company in Jessica. Ever seen there? The supplying of those street lights, no, ever seen there? Now, an MP who is not the Minister of Energy comes to tell you, say, our warehouse are ECG poles gum, our warehouse are street lights gum, and that he will be going to bring those poles and street lights. Mumusa Kennedy Japan say. Your man yere any or no contract is on supply street lights no. Oh to me supplier na. Dabi. Your street lights now on supply no any na. In fact, the poles now say a good warehouse. Any street lights in a good warehouse no. Ye busan said okotoya for den and na onya no. Our ECG contract be na. Yes, our millions of ECG contractor may they be show very soon. You see, these people they have played on your conscience and done everything to indirectly taken from you without you people knowing. Also, and the Onwanga General Catcher will say, poles, street lights, any sign of Manyamano, or will be. Now the question is, Yanim the Chrome, some dumping, lights could have been hot. That means the street lights in a guano, poles in a guano, your second Japan, baby, or cotton in a free. Your person or baby, onya sa lights in now. Sa video now, Mama Kong, cables. Any poles, Nsawam no, are not done pre. Now, me show the connection. Are not done pre work with this stolen containers. Any the role I will play in these stolen containers, any ECG materials. Oh, so video we. It's making it's on circulation on social media. Watch this video very well. Sign your mama copy no, are not done pre constituency in the war.
No, not be a buy. Who is it? I'm afraid. I say it, never. Never more shiny. Shiny. because
Omogana.
Meka just o papa mbobra. Papa mbobra o, enso ane papa. Do say an ekoso. Yeah. Enti ha area mo nipa kwante ya. Nipa nti enti o ma da sa ne ma we nyina koso mo hu na mo report na nkofo anteke ahye. Ah.
So the company now run.
The pay on the other side in this. And it go the guy. We will go on.
It's a fresh ground.
Fresh crowd. Fresh crowd.
And yes, sir, extractive blue with Badia. People will pass her. Whatever you say, you'll be company.
Oh, yeah.
You also to me found some Badia machine never found. And I will be good at the.
So another pre constituency. Post we are not on prayer. Now I'm show how we rear ECG cables, street lights, posts. Remember, Peter Mbe catch say I buying NPP, I buying market in Japan. A street light contract, 100 million. Or supply. One supply, he kept it. And Mbe catch say they gave Kennedy Japan, ECG market in Japan, 100 million contracts, street lights. In the Kennedy Bejina PZ, no catch them say our street lights be breguo. Our poles be brigua. They know what they are telling you. Because ECG street light belongs to the government of Ghana. Etikade Japan contracted the man, no, was he able to supply all the poles and street lights? No. And it's not oye bold or kojina PZ. No street lights go. In fact, my friend, a warehouse, a gum. Because ECG, you know, they were running it as friends. Now, I'm make sure the link. At the Kudientia, you see these people, the NPP are quiet on the ECG matter. And it's not after your marking. Kasongo 99. Onte say, what can ECG as someone who be him? He is guilty. Investigations say koso. They know some of them. ECG are the way. The time of movie investigations, so the NPP will not have a front in parliament. The NPP in parliament, they will not have a front. That is the reason why the NPP minority in parliament, they have moved away from the ECG issue. Argentina NPP and your press conference kakraka about the ECG. So NDC is accusing them of something. Why do you think they have stayed away from the ECG matter? Argentina MPP fonka ECG no. Argentina they have stayed away from the conversation. It is because they know that their main men are the ones who committed the crime. Now let's go into the books. You see this? And the strategy they put together and it is what's the another prayer on can ECG no one sem bi on can one some cry. But another prayer, do you know say he was on the board of ECG? Do you know? The minority chief whip Habib, do you know he was also on the board of ECG? The minority leader Afenyo Markin, these people. I mean any can find come out. Do you know these three people who are leading the NPP today in Ghana? The minority. All these three people were on the board of ECG. Yeah. Crime now moving in our ECG. From the board now, I'm taking that decision on more cables, more lights, more bibiano. These three people who are leading the NPP today in parliament, all these three people were on the board of ECG. Time I issue when you know AC, another was on the board, Afenyo Markin was on the board, and Habib Idrisu, the minority chief whip, he was also on the board. It is a minority in parliament. If they have refused to speak on this ECG matter, then it means they are front. They know the three of them, they can all end up in jail. Now let's go back and I'm show how they did the plan and why they are quiet. These are dangerous people. You never listen to NPP or anybody speaking for NPP because you see, party is a disease. Now let's go back. You're starting free. You see, in 2022, Napo. In 2022, Napo was the energy minister. The child will be a plan free. In 2022, Napo was the energy minister. The deputy energy minister, Ejapa Mesa. And the second deputy, near friend Williams Owusu Edu. Now, when you go to ECG board, Tamana Napo, energy minister now, it was Kelly Gajapo. The MD of ECG was Dubik Mahama. And then Anodompre was a board member of ECG in 2022. Did you know? Yeah. Anodompre today is the minority leader, deputy minority leader in parliament for the NPP. He is deputy to Afenomakin. So in 2022, I want to say Anodompre ECG in one press conference. The front of the NPP, they have moved away from that conversation is because they were the ones who orchestrated the crime. In 2022, Anodompre was sitting on the board of ECG. All the decisions that were being taken, Anodompre was part of it. If you do not think, say, NPP, Afenomakin quickly coming out to tell you, say, Ghanaians, let us all solve the ECG problem as a nationalistic thing. They are the ones who did the damage. They are the ones who connived and teamed up our ECG boss and ECG to destroy ECG. Itusha, Napo, Energy Minister 2022. Ejapa Mesa, Deputy Energy Minister. And Mr. Edu, second deputy. Now about ECG boss na Kelly Gajapo, na Dubik Mahama as the MD of ECG, and Anodompre. Now here. Now, when you come to 2023, something happened. In 2023, changes were made. Remember, this is the same group. And the Amokacho said Dumusaba Monso Kanyano. Mamen Chamo. Savi do Nabuko Uno, Nsawam Adoagreyri no. Sanyo many Anodompre. He stole it from ECG. Because he was on the board of ECG. Yeah. 2023. In the year 2023, Nanapo and a energy minister. And Omuchenji Ejapa Mesa. And Omude Obia friend Herbert Krapper Ebesheho as deputy. Remember, 2022, Ejapa Mesa was the deputy to Napo. Omuba 2023 no, and Omuchenji Ejapa Mesa and Omude Krapper Ebesheho. And they maintained the second deputy minister, Edu, as energy ministry. In Napo State, they changed Ejapa Mesa and the Krapper, Herbert Krapper Besheho, and Omu maintaining second deputy energy minister. Now, about ECG in 2023, did anything happen? In 2023, Kelly Gajapo was still there. Herbert Dubik Mahama was still there as the MD. Anodompre in 2023 was still a member of the ECG board. Or a criminal guy. And it just won't say ECG as Wakabi. That is why they have moved. That is why they don't want that conversation to go on. That is why today you don't see them having press conferences to be demanding ECG containers now, because posts cables now a women of fire. And you see, it's so interesting to say it is the leadership of the minority today. They were the people who were sitting on the board of ECG. Now, when Ejapa was taken out, Ayade Herbert Krapper, something also happened. In 2024, Herbert Krapper, he was acting as the board chair. March 2024, Herbert Krapper na obey deputy to Napono. He became the acting board chair of ECG. The same time now, deputy to Napono, he became the acting board chair of ECG. Efrisena Kelly Gajapo in March 2024 had resigned. They brought Herbert Krapper from the ministry to be the acting board chair of ECG board. In 2024 March, now Anodompre was still on the board of ECG. Now Dubik Mahama was still at post because March 2024, now Dubik Mahama resigning here. Now why not resigning? Kelly Gajapo. Omo move Krapper who was the deputy energy minister, they made him the acting board chair of ECG. It is our changes now, Bano, Krapa or top, Krapa or down. He was acting as board chair and also the deputy minister in 2024 March. Team. Krapa be a board chair acting when Kelly Gajapo resigned as the board chair of ECG. It is still another Dompre is constant from 2022, 2023, 2024. Another Dompre was on the board of ECG. Into all the decisions that were being taken, another Dompre was sitting in there. Napo was in there. Dubik Mahama was in there. Now Krapa abe some substitution which is not permanent. Now Ekufuado would need a board chair for ECG because Kelly Gajapo has resigned. Krapa is a deputy energy minister. He's acting as the board chair of ECG. Into NPP4 had to make some changes because they needed their cartels still to control ECG. So what did they do? This was in March 2024. Satan Napo MBF running mate to Edian Abozege. Napo was still the substantive energy minister. Don't get it wrong. March Napo da who is substantive energy minister. Now this is what happened. Make sure be a problem free. And it's an MPP. They are not speaking about the ECG issue because almost front are criminals. They will all go to jail. Investigations are still ongoing. That is why they are mute. Now, I'm sure there. Now, in November, you see, in November 2024, Satan Napo Eko running mate Ama MPP Ama Baumia. Napo left as the energy minister. Now, what they did was that they brought Krapa back to become the substantive energy minister. And the second deputy minister, the deputy. Now, when it comes to the ECG boss, they moved Afenyo Markin to become the ECG board chair. And then this man called Kwabena Ajimanbedu, ECG MD, because November, not Dubik Mahama so resigning. Kaligajapo echo March. Dubik Mahama so echo close to elections, September thereabout. They needed a new MD for ECG. Into Omdi Afenyo Markin, Ebesheho as the board chair of ECG. They brought another person to replace Dubik Mahama. And what happens? They brought the deputy chief whip. Time na omo parliament, omo power no. Na akwa your friend Habib Idrisu. Not or your majority chief whip. Not or your third to Afenyo Markin. They brought that guy to be on the board of ECG. Technically, another prayer has been on ECG board for about 3 years. Now, you're changing Keligajepo resigning. Krapa Ako as a substantive minister because Napoko running mate. And the Afenyo Markin abeshaw. Now you ask, say, why na shame you know? Dubik Mahama Soko into the wine about Kwabena. Now, Kwamena. Now, baby are tricking off. The reason why you are not seeing another prayer here and they say, Afenyo Markin was the board chair of the road fund. Now, what they did was that they moved another prayer from the ECG board to go and take over at the road fund, and they brought Afenyo Markin from the road fund to be the board chair of ECG. Now, you see the trick. So, another prayer for about 3 years has been on the board of ECG. Now, they still needed their campaign in the front, one of them to come and handle ECG board. They had to take another prayer to substitute Afenyo Markin from the road fund board for Afenyo Markin to come here as a substantive board chair of ECG. Another prayer left around November 20. He left before the elections to go ahead the road fund. Anything I won't say, Habib Abeshaw. It is all follow what they did. It was a simple chess they were playing with you. The NPP, as we speak today, now let me show you this. There are some people who have doubts about these people. Now you see, another prayer joins ECG board July 30th, 2021. And I almost swear another prayer in as a board member of ECG. Ntebia, audience asama ye kano, ye can dia share another prayer con. No. Sa pose na muna adwejire no. Another prayer dia. Or a lot of them, Kennedy Muobi, Afenyo Markin Muobi. They have stolen everything from the container. So, we go back to look at what actually happened now. Sir Habib and Afenyo Markin, they all came into the ECG or joined the ECG board in July 2024. Sanko for me and say we are only the MPP or parliament. No, they are the ones who destroyed ECG. These three criminals. It's ECG problem now. Dina MPP form person Mekasa or Dino. It is Habib who is the minority chief whip. Afenyo Markin who is also the minority whip, and then another prayer who is also the minority chief whip. On Afenyo Markin who is now the minority leader. These three people are the ones that almost the ECG cause shares a problem. That is why ECG container theft in the buy. They were saying, oh, we're a national issue. We should all come together and solve it. Now, Ben, I say, I don't pray. I can ECG as some I can't want some. Have you heard him speak on it? Have you ever heard this Habib guy speak on the ECG container theft? After your marking, the say, oh, guys, let us all come together as a people. No. Videos now, no. In some kind of these people are the people who containers in a free port. I'm almost setting up a company. Okay? This is when Habib Idrisu was basically make sure evidence, no? But they are not done pray the actual. Okay. Habib was sworn in. Habib Denini by Napo. Habib and Alpha Nyomakin were sworn in by Napo, the energy minister, to go sit on the ECG board in July 2024. So the NPP you are seeing right now, front, no, leadership, no, they are criminals. They are the corporates. ECG container theft now, that is why the NPP leadership, they have refused to speak on it. Investigations, they know that some of them will go to jail. And they don't even want to do press conference. Their communicators are not speaking on it. Social media, they don't want to speak on these things because the leadership may say NDC person will break NPP. I mean, the good party, no. Alpha Markin is still begging behind the scenes. Alpha Markin is begging. Habib, Arnold Dompre, Alpha Markin. These three criminals, these guys. Now, let me show you also on ECG website. They published it. Now, when you read ECG Ankasa website, what they wrote there, one kind. So if you saw all about Mr. Alpha Markin succeeded Mr. Krapa, who has been appointed as Minister of State at the Ministry of Energy. Mr. Krapa's elevation to his ministerial role was approved by Parliament after his nomination by President Akufo-Addo. Previously, Mr. Krapa served as the Deputy Minister for